In this video, we are going to look at the rule for profit maximization and optimal input allocation. So for a firm, the rule for profit maximization says it should be the marginal revenue should be equal to marginal cost. Now, what do we mean by profit maximization? Profit maximization is the point where the firm earns its highest level of profit. Okay, so what does this rule mean? This means that the firm only earns its highest level of profit at the point where the marginal revenue, which is the revenue from the increase in production by one more unit, is just equal to the cost of that additional unit. Now, to check that this is true, we can look at what happens if this rule is not true. So what if marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost? Okay, what if for each additional increase in production, the firm gets more revenue from that unit increase than how much it costs the firm to produce that additional increase? Okay, if this is the case, then the firm is not maximizing profit. Then there is room to grow profit. So profit is not maximized. So if this is the case, the firm will increase production. So this cannot be the rule. Okay, what if then marginal revenue is less than marginal cost? Okay, if marginal revenue is less than marginal cost, meaning each additional increase in production, the firm earns less for that unit than how much it costs it to produce. This, if this is the case, the firm is likely going to decrease production. Okay, production will come down because the cost of that additional unit is higher than the revenue from that unit. Okay, so production will come down. In this case, too, the firm is not earning its highest level of profit. So this cannot be the rule. The only time that the firm is indifferent from increasing production is where the marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. That is the only time that the firm will not increase production because revenue will be maximized here. Okay, each additional unit wouldn't add to profit, so profit is maximized because the marginal revenue from that additional unit is equal to the marginal cost. Okay, so this is the rule at the firm level. All right, so now let's look at what is the rule for choosing how much of an input or what is the highest or the largest input that the firm should employ. Okay, so that rule says that the marginal revenue product, which is just basically the monetary value of how much that additional input gives you, or you can think about it as the marginal revenue of that input should be equal to the cost of that input. Let's use an example. Okay, let's say you have a farm where you have four people working on the farm, and at the end of the month, they produce 100 unit of apples. Okay, if you're thinking about hiring one more worker to come and work at the farm, let's say you calculate and you find out that that additional worker is going to produce 80 units of apple a month, right? They will get you 80 units of apple, but you will have to pay them 70 units of apples. Okay, so they will add 80 units to production and you pay them 70. Okay, if the cost of paying them is the only cost that you incur in producing the 80 apples, then that means that on the net, even if you get 80 and you pay them 70, you're still making 10 in net profit. So it makes sense to employ this person. Okay, what if then you're thinking about, okay, whether to hire additional one more guy or one more worker, and your calculation shows that this additional guy will produce 60 apples in a month, but you still have to pay them 70. Okay, so the cost of this additional worker is higher than how much they add to revenue. So it wouldn't make sense to hire this guy. Okay, so the only time that you get to the point where you hire the highest number of workers, or the only point where you will stop adding workers is the point where the marginal revenue product is equal to the cost, meaning how much they add, that additional input adds to production is just equal to how much it costs you. This is where you stop. So this is what we call the optimal input use rule. So you add more input to production until the point where the marginal revenue product of that input is just equal to how much it costs you. All right, thank you for watching. So this is the rule for profit maximization and optimal input allocation. If you like this video, kindly like and subscribe.